All right. So got to move over to this camera here. All right. So get into scheduling information. I like to start off with the this up here. So let's move up and cover this real quick. So there we go. So little definitions of what we're talking about here for those of you that are kind of new. Is that we're going to go over scheduling information. That means if you have an order placed in your dealer's order bank. So the order bank is where the dealership places all their orders, whether it be a stock or retail order. Not all models only have retail orders, because a lot of times, just like for us, we've already, they're able to produce more than what they might have a custom retail order for. Now, if we have a new model like Bronco, we've seen Lightning, Maverick, those was new, so people didn't have those out there. So we saw at the beginning when that first launches all retail orders and nothing else. But once those get fulfilled and they get caught up, then we're going to start seeing stock orders. So a retail order is a customer placed order. So in the dealership, we always, hey, that's a retail order or that's a stock order. So we've learned that stuff. Stock orders are basically what dealerships place in the order bank to fulfill their allocations to help fill up their lots. We have 100 new cars out there in a lot right now, and a lot of F-150s and Explorers, Expeditions, and such for stock. And when we don't have any retail orders, or like we get to a point where we had retail orders, but now this next month we get allocations, and maybe we only have 1 or 2 retail orders, but we have like 8 or 10 allocations. Well, we need to put some stock orders in there, or Ford's going to put their own order in there. And sometimes we don't like what they choose for the orders. So we need to make sure we put stock orders in there so that we get the stock configurations that we want and that works for us as a dealership. So we did that with had to do that with some Super Duty on some things. So priority codes, that is a priority given to an order. So retail orders are always looked at. Now they get in 03 to 19. So you kind of can stack your retail orders based on maybe when they ordered, maybe, depends on the dealership. They can stack it how they want to. And then your stock orders are 20 to 80. So retail orders are always looked at first, within the capacity that they can build them. We're going to actually probably see this month where we might actually get some Mavericks, not Maverick stock, but some newer orders. We do have a couple people, only about a handful of people that locally we let put them on order in because we knew we'd have enough allocations for the year. And so some of those are 10 to 19, and they're getting looked at because they want to schedule more EcoBoost, and we don't have any more EcoBoost orders. So that's a possibility. So, and so that's kind of how that works. Again, lower the better. So they're going to try to always fulfill a retail with the same configuration. Scheduling, that is what we're talking about in here as we talk about what models are scheduling and such like that. Ford will schedule an order for production date in the future. Those production dates are scheduled to the week, to the day. As they get closer, sometimes those will shift around and move as they need to stack the factory. Allocations are Ford needs Ford will give dealers allocations to schedule their orders, and dealers will need an allocation to schedule an order in the order bank. And dealer earns those allocations based on their sales for each model year. Some models will have different configurations and how they choose to allocate those, but typically it's based on sales within your region. And then constraints, we'll talk about those because some of these we'll talk about as, hey, these are constraints going on, which means it may take longer to build, and because of that they can only do so many, or they have the supply. Because of the supply they have from the different vendors, they're only able to do so many. And then that also kind of alludes into capacity, which also is saying that this is their planned rate based on the motor trim option. Right now, Maverick, for instance, is one of those where it's 50% hybrid, 50% EcoBoost right now. And so sometimes that will change. Trim levels the same way. We'll get into that as well. Sometimes we'll talk about that when we talk about capacity. And then job 1 and 2, actually we'll talk a little bit about that today as well. So job 1 is the first half year of production, and they split it. And then the second half of the year is job 2. Balance out is when they're ending the production for either a model option, usually an option, and there's a couple on when we get to transit that they're balanced out for the rest of the year. And then the model will get balanced out eventually as well for each of these. And we'll talk about some of those are coming up on some vehicles too. So there we go. So it's going through that. I should just leave that up so you guys can see it as we go through this, but in case we get into that. So I feel like I'm like off over here. All right. So let's start with the 24 Mustang. So 24 Mustang is scheduling this week. This is job. We talked about the different job 1 and job 2. This is the balance out scheduling for job 1. So we'll see if they make any changes. There usually will be a job 2 order guide and any changes that might happen. So we'll see. One of those changes might be the fact that like the Night Pony package and the GT Performance package might be for retail only. So they may actually put that change actually in the order bank or in the order guide, I should say. But there you go. Right now, they currently have 2,090 unscheduled retail orders. And that's not including stock orders. So like right now, we have like 1 retail Mustang order in our order bank. And it happens to be a dark horse, I think. And it's actually previewing this week. So for right now, of the orders that are in there, of those 2,000 orders, 50% of the orders in there have the GT Performance package on the order. It's crazy. So that's 1,000 of those, and then about 22% have a Night Pony package on it. So that if you look at it, that's 72% either have one of those 2 things on them, which is kind of crazy. Right now, the order banks are open up for the 24 model year Mustang, and there you go. So, yeah. And only constraints we have on that is that the Night Pony package and the GT Performance package are retail only restrictions. So a dealer can't put a stock one in. You might look on our lot and say, well, you have some GT Performance packages. That's because we had customers that didn't take theirs when they came in. So that's how that would happen. All right. Moving on to 24 model year Escape. Retail scheduling only. Oh, also, going back to Mustang, I do this. It seems like I always do Mustang wrong. So, I guess Mustang, they are scheduling this week for production dates the weeks of December 4th through January 15th. So, it's a big window. Remember, the plants are going to be down probably the last 2 weeks of December. All right. 24 model year Escape, retail scheduling only. There's about 1,026 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. 16% of those are plug-in hybrid. So quite a few of those waiting to get theirs. They are scheduling for the weeks of December 4th through December 25th. So they're only scheduling for December build dates there. Order banks are open up right now for the 24 model year Escape, so you can place that order, except for the base. The base was a retail only option, and now it is closed out completely. No more base. In the future, they probably won't see that. We're seeing that on a lot of other models, including Explorer for 24. All right, moving on. 24 model year Bronco Sport. There's about 376 unscheduled orders in the order bank. Not too many. 14% of those are the freewheeling edition. That's still a late availability option. And 14% of them are Badlands. So pretty even there. And 56% of them, of those orders, have the Big Ben convenience package. And another 56% have the Copilot 360 Assist Plus package. So really popular package on the Bronco Sport there. So they are scheduling. It says no stock scheduling. So they're only looking for retail orders, which is probably why we don't have any previewing, because we don't have any retail orders. So if you want to put a retail order on Bronco Sport, probably get scheduled pretty easily. We do have an allocation. They are scheduled for build weeks December 4th through December 25th. Only December months of scheduling, and order banks are open up for 24 model year Bronco Sport. And they're going to start building those, the 24 model years, October 19th. So that's coming up in 9 days. They're switching that over. So pretty cool. And there's no note in here about the freewheeling edition. So I'm wondering if we're about ready to start seeing some of those start scheduling. Because normally it says in here that it's that it's still late availability, but it's not mentioned on here. 24 model year Edge is scheduling this week. There's about 541 unscheduled orders, retail orders in the order bank. Not that many. They are scheduling for production weeks December 4th through January 29th. So we're looking for 2 months there. Again, factory will probably down for a couple of those weeks in December. 24 model year Edge ST stock order bank is closed. So you cannot put in an Edge ST. They closed that off. Otherwise, the other ones, the order banks are open up for the Edge. There you go.
All right.
That's all I have for that. Edge. All right. 24 model year Ranger is not scheduling right now. The plant is on strike. So there's currently 3,171 unscheduled orders in the order bank. The order banks are open up for Ranger, and we don't know when they're going to start job one. So we got to wait for the for that strike to end. All right, 23 model year Bronco, no scheduling this week. Again, that plant is down. Ranger and Bronco are made in the same place. There's currently 9,167 retail unscheduled orders in the order bank. And I don't know, because they didn't have 23 model year, if that includes 24 model year, because it could, not sure. But it does say in there that 92% of the ones that are unscheduled in there are hardtop. 14% of those hardtops, or 14% are two-door hardtops. And then 16% are Heritage Edition. That's the big kicker, the big one there. So 24 model year order banks are open up right now. Do note there on Raptor, it's not in here, but it's just something that I've noticed. Don't forget on the 24 model year Raptor, if you want that code orange appearance package, that is not available yet to put on your order. So like we have somebody that wants one of those, we're going to just hold on to that until it's available. Then we can put that order in for them. All right. 24 model year Maverick. Retail scheduling only this week. So like I said, we have a lot of allocations that are going to get scheduled probably. They're scheduling for production weeks in December, so the weeks of December 4th through December 25th. And then there is currently 43,029 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank right now. 68% of those are hybrid. Yeah, and about 38% of the orders in the order bank are XL. Their capacity is 23%, but don't forget, 23% is for their whole year of production, whereas that 38 is just based on the 41,000 number or 43,000 number. So keep that in mind as well. So again, 38% of the 43,000 is well below what 23% is of what 120, 130, 140,000 they can make in a year. So definitely all the XL orders that are in there will get scheduled eventually. I know some of you have been waiting for a little while, but they will get scheduled. It's just time. So little note that I added here is only 2% of the unscheduled orders in order bank are Tremor orders with 10% of their capacity. So you want to get something scheduled quickly, pick EcoBoost. And even pick Tremor if you want, and you can probably get scheduled right away. Most dealerships, probably not ours because we have so many carryover orders and we're not taking orders. But anyway, also something to note is on the hitch. 66% of the unscheduled orders have the hitch on there, and their capacity for the entire year is 65%. So you can go ahead and leave those hitches on there. Even the optional hitches, you should be fine. They do have notes in here, exhaustive availability on XL. I wouldn't worry about that. We had 19 XLs previewing this week. So they're going to schedule XLs. So just, I know that sometimes we mention in here, they tell us exhausted availability. I still trying to understand some of the wording on the scheduling notes because we have seen some say exhausted and still see them scheduled. So, yeah, so I'm not sure on that. Limit availability on XLT, it says even, and we have like most of ours that are previewing are XLT. I mean, we're going to have probably close to 80 Mavericks scheduled with XLT trim. So, again, they're still scheduling that. So, they also mentioned limit availability on black appearance package, splash guards, the standard XLT wheel, which is probably what's causing the XLT to have issues, and then also the wheel or the tire that is available on the XL and XLT. It doesn't say it's a standard tire. And then also exhaust availability on your tonneau cover. Again, I've recommended to you guys keep your tonneau covers off and splash guards anyway, but there you go. So that's that. So again, keeping this in mind, just like with Super Duties, it doesn't mean you won't get scheduled. It's going to be a little bit harder because of the parts availability is what they're talking about there. Moving on, 23 model year Explorer is not scheduling this week. Again, Explorer is on strike at that factory. They have 267 unscheduled retail orders, not that many. Only 1% of them are hybrid orders. So you know that. And 23 model year order banks, we'll talk about that in a second. They're closed, but we'll talk about it in seconds. All right, 24 model year Expedition. No scheduling this week. There's currently 922 orders, retail orders in the order bank. Don't forget, Platinum will require optional 22-inch wheel, and Platinum units must include the multi-contoured seat removal because they're having parts issues there. Order banks are open up for 24 model year Expedition. Okay, 24 model year Super Duty. Looks like they are scheduling for the Kentucky truck plant for the weeks of 11-13 and to 11-27, so November. They are not scheduling for the Ohio truck plant. So Ohio assembly plant is not scheduling this week. And that's where most of the cabin chassis are built. So if you have one of those, yeah, you're probably not going to get scheduled. And there's 21,165 unscheduled orders in the order bank for the Super Duty. 61% of those orders have the 6.7 liter high output diesel engine with a capacity at 10%. So that's really skewed there. So I would encourage you to go to the standard 6.7 liter diesel engine. It's a good engine, nothing wrong with it. It'll give you plenty of power and everything, because there's only 25% of the orders in the order bank have that motor, and the capacity, they're well below the capacity. So that would be a suggestion I'd have for you if you're struggling to get scheduled. Some of the other notes on here, just like we've had for the last, I don't know how many weeks, King Ranch and Platinum will be 100% multi-contoured seat. So they're saying you don't have to worry about the removal. They're going to get those. All chassis cab orders require the upfitter interface modular 18A option for 24 model year. So don't forget about that. Limited availability on F550, King Ranch, and Limited. Exhaust availability on F600, Platinum, and Lariat. And then limited availability on the 6.7 high output Power Stroke diesel engine. Kind of already talked about that. Also, the same goes for the Power Stroke diesel engine. So both of those diesel engines are struggling right now. They're going to schedule some just in a limited quantity there. Also, the 20-inch Bright Machine cast wheel with the Caribou painted pockets. That's your King Ranch wheel. That's standard on the F250 and F350 single rear wheels. That one there. That one is a limited availability. 20, which is probably what's limiting the King Ranch from getting scheduled. 20-inch Bright Machined and painted aluminum wheel. It's standard on F250 and F350 Platinum, single rear wheel Platinum, I should say. That also is an issue there, limited availability part issue probably. And then the some of the axles we've talked about before, the Dana Axle M300 heavy duty rear, that's available on the F450, F550 chassis cabs with the 7.3 gas and the 6.7 diesel engines and dually. So that axle there is limited. Dana Axle M315 rear, that's optional on the F350, F450, F600 dualies with the 6.7 diesel engines. And then also the low running frame GA that's available on the F350s with the 7.3 gas engine and all diesel engines, and the 145-inch wheelbase is limited. This one's new. It says the Voss Super SC level, which is on the 192-inch wheelbase. With the aft to axle fuel tank 65Z is that option, and the low sulfur no BP cap option 98L. So that's a new one, and that hadn't been on there before. Also, the fifth wheel hitch kit. This is the hitch, not the prep. This is restricted. So again, that's optional on the F250s and 350s. And King Ranch Platinum Unlimited, it's standard. So you shouldn't, if you have those, you don't have to worry about taking that off because it's included. And then also the tire that you get that's optional on the chassis cab F600s, XL and XLTs, that is also unlimited availability. So they're struggling with that 19.5-inch wheel there for you. Also, exhaust availability for the 7.3 gas. So now we've seen limited availability on the diesels and the gas. So if you want a quick turn, you needing something, 6.8 gas is an option for you. But it looks like to me you're probably better off going with the diesel. It'll probably get scheduled because it's limited, whereas the gas is exhausted. And then, of course, we mentioned that 19.5-inch tire or wheel again. That's standard on the or actually, this is the tire. So the tire in the wheel is constrained. The LK frame, which is optional on the F550, F600 with the 6.7 liter and 7.3 liter with the 143-inch dually. Without the payload package, that's that's exhausted. The HBK frame, which is optional on the F350 two-wheel drive with the well, it says 7.3 diesel, but and the 169-inch wheelbase. So I'm not sure if it's the 7.3 gas or the diesel. I really need to fix that. GBK frame, which is optional on the F350 two-wheel drive. Again, it says 7.3 diesel and the 145-inch dually or single rear wheel. So I'm not sure which frame. I don't know if it's the diesel or the gas because it says 7.3 diesel. So also the 193-inch wheelbase, it's optional on the XL, XLT, 450, 550, 600 chassis cabs, and the 245-inch wheelbase with the same configuration. The 4x4 front axles, which is available on the F450, 550, 600 with the 4.3 or 4.88 regular axle gear ratio. So that's a new one for this week. I haven't seen that one before. And the low running frame PB that's available on the F450s and F550s with the 7.3 gas engine and all diesel engines with the 179-inch wheelbase and the dualies. Let's see what else. The 360-degree dual beacon LED warning strobe, the amber white and the amber. That's restricted right now, which is crazy. Heavy duty alternator that's standard on the XL gas. So you want to maybe change that alternator. The transfer case that's standard on the F600 4x4s with the 7.3 gas or the 6.7 diesels and the 193 or 205-inch wheelbase for the chassis cabs. Max recline seats also is an issue there, so don't forget to take those off. The Baja interior which is optional on the XL and Lariats is restricted or exhausted, and the lug nut cap, believe it or not, available on the F250, 450 pickups with the 4-wheel drive, single rear wheel, 20-inch chrome wheel. So there you go. Whew. So a lot of stuff on the Super Duty. So part issues still are haunting us on our Super Duties there. Some of the builds that we've seen get scheduled and do pretty well. Lariats, we've been seeing pretty good luck with those with the sport packages because some of those wheels on those, we've also seen XLTs. So if you're wanting to get your truck, you need a truck, maybe instead of looking and waiting out for that King Rancher Platinum, maybe, put in another order and see if you can get, an XLT or a Lariat instead. So, and then maybe hold out for that King Ranch. 23 model year F-150, they are scheduling for build weeks of December 11th and December 18th to finish out production. So some dealers will have some allocations for that. They gave some extra ones to carry over to keep the plant rolling. So don't forget those. A lot of dealers will probably have stock orders. There's only 2,980 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank, so they should probably get taken care of. And then next week, we'll start scheduling for 24 model year, so which is unusual. So, by the way, the 24 model year Super D order banks are open up, as well as the 24 model year F-150 order banks are open up as well. And then job one for 24 model year F-150 is, let's see, scheduling begins, next week. So we don't have the job one yet on those. All right. 23 model year F-150 Lightning is not scheduling. So 24 model year scheduling will begin next week. So they kind of go live with that. And you can put an order in the order bank. You can order a 24 model year F-150 Lightning right now, as we mentioned earlier. 23 model year Mach-E. Retail scheduling this week. retail only. There's 108 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Not a lot. Most of those are non-GT all-wheel drives, and 74% of them are the LFP battery. So people want that battery. They are scheduling for build weeks of December 4th through December 18th. So there you go. So getting those finished out, as we mentioned, yeah, we're going to be closing off the order banks for that as well. They're going to be closing soon, and we don't have a tentative of yet when the order banks can open up. Order banks should open up next week. So I think the 16th. There you go. So it's not in here. Actually, it says in here 11/2. So they moved it back. So it looks like the 24 model year order bank for the Mach-E will open up November 2nd. So they do have a note in here. So they moved that back. It was supposed to be next week, and they moved it. So there you go. So that happens. And that's why a lot of times they don't like me giving dates out, is because like last week I gave you guys a date of October 16th, and then they can't fulfill that. And so they move it back. So right now, tentative for November 2nd there. 23 model year Transit. There's 10,617 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. They are scheduling for the week of December 4th. They're saying this is balance out for Transit for 23 model year. So if you have an unscheduled order after this week that still doesn't get scheduled, you're going to want to make sure you put in for that 24 model year Transit order, because they won't get just carried over. You will need to put a new order in. So make sure you do that, because the order banks are open up for 24 model year Transit. They'll start scheduling for that next week as well, and the e-Transit both. Here's some constraints for that one. Let's see here. The best availability is for the 3.5 V6 Cyclone engine. That's 99.8 option code. Then the EcoBoost engine. Also, the 61E is the high resolution camera is temporarily available for stock orders, it says. But if they got retail orders, why would you schedule stocks or whatever? Please consider that the power sliding door is not available for 24 model year, so you cannot get that in 24. Limited availability for these following options: four-wheel drive, the 3.5 EcoBoost engine, as we just mentioned a second ago, the heavy-duty front axle, which is option 41E, the AM/FM stereo with the 4-inch multi-function display, and the digital rear view camera option 90C. Those are all limited. Exhaust availability is for the high roof jumbo bus, the high roof long bus, the 360-degree camera, Transit Trail package, the Sync 4 with the Sirius XM with the 360L, and then your ebony leather, ebony cloth, and dark palazzo gray cloth 10-way power driver and passenger seats. So those are options 21S, 21R, and 21Q. Balanced out completely, as I mentioned earlier, might be talking about that. This is the model that we talk about that on. Depopulated key is not available. It's done. Power running boards is done. Side barn doors is done, as well as all crew van codes are done. And the Transit 350 heavy duty dually cutaway chassis cab and cargo vans are done as well. And then not available for stock orders is the 3.5 EcoBoost and the 360-degree camera for your ICE orders. So there you go. And then they don't have any notes for us on Transit Connect, because that balanced out last week. And so Transit Connect is done. I mean, they're not done. They're going to keep building them. So I think they build through December, the week of December 22nd is the last day they will build a Transit Connect for who knows for how long, ever probably. So there you go. All right, there we go. Any questions on scheduling that popped up while I went over that?
A few.
A few?
A couple. Maybe one or two.
Let's address them.
Okay. So, what is the possibility of getting a Maverick this year if ordered July 18th? There's a lot that goes into that probability.
I would say 100%.
There you go.
I mean, we got to think about this. They're building, like last month alone.
Oh, he has a priority 19.
So last month, don't forget they made, what did they say, 13,000 Mavericks last month, right? And let's just let's say 10,000. Let's play it safe. Let's say they build 10,000 a month, right?
Okay.
There's 43,000 unscheduled orders in the order bank. So that's 4 months of scheduling, 4 months of production, right? So,
Yeah.
and they're scheduling for December build dates. So December being 10,000. Actually, probably won't be quite December. Probably won't be to 10,000. But let's not even count that. Let's say that's the 3,000, and let's say so. Then we have January, February, March, April. So by May, they could be clean of any unless new orders get put in.
Yeah.
Like last week, that number was 41,000 unscheduled orders, and they scheduled some, which means that we had about 2,000 new orders put in the order bank in the last week, right? So that can continue to happen. So look at the wrong camera. So keep that in mind. So they will all get scheduled. All the XLs will get scheduled. We have a lot of people in there going, mine will never get scheduled. Yes, it will. So there's plenty. That's why the order banks are still open up, because you can do that. And a lot of people thinking,
Yeah.
oh, that means the demand for the Maverick is down. No, it's still the hottest vehicle, not only for Ford, it's probably the hottest vehicle for about any manufacturer right now is the Ford Maverick. Hybrid, pickup truck, small. I mean, it is still in great demand. So I think what's happening is you're seeing orders getting scheduled, and then more orders being put in there, more orders getting scheduled, and they're producing more than they did last year. So last year they were averaging about 7,500. This year they're averaging about 10,000. So they're running on 3 shifts there. That's how many they're producing and getting kicked out. They're producing more hybrids out of the Maverick truck plant or Maverick Hermosillo than they are on the F-150s are probably. I mean, when you think about it that way. So
Yep.